was seeing this video recently with Jaleel White, and he was talking about the impact of Family Matters, and he's been documented, saying that how growing up was different for him. He was kind of like he was kind of outcasted. He wasn't really accepted by the black community like that, but he was a TV icon, still is. And hey, when you play a nerd for 10 years, I guess that's what happens. But listen to this clip with Jaleel White.
Being a part of the TGIF brand sometimes makes you feel like you don't completely belong in the pantheon of blackness. Blackness has been treated as a very monolithic experience in entertainment. If it's not a hood story, it's not a black story. And sometimes I feel left out of that. So it's like like if there's ever a poll and they say, "Oh, what are your favorite black shows?" and Martin is in there, or Living Single, or any of those guys, I already know we coming in last. But if there's ever a poll and it's just like your favorite family shows and suddenly Martin's not in there or whatever, all of a sudden we rank really high. And so it's kind of interesting in how we look at ourselves, to be quite honest, even as black folks. And somehow I became a symbol for black men.
Now, look, I will say, so everybody is in the comments, giving him hell. This show was corny, it wasn't relatable, this and that. Look, Family Matters from the jump was always like, this the presentation, because they used to put shows on back when we had sitcoms on TV like that. Now it's just like 3 or 4 of them. Unless you call Abbott Elementary a black sitcom, I wouldn't consider it that. But they put them in blocks. Like, WB would have like Sister, Smart Guy, Steve Harvey show. Black shows were in blocks. Fox used to have Martin and Living Single back to back on Thursdays, whatever. They had the TGI Friday lineup, and it was pretty white. You know what I mean? It was Boy Meets World, Full House, Step by Step, shows like Growing Pains. It don't get no whiter than that, right? And I used to watch Boy Meets World, but the rest of that stuff I couldn't get into. But Family Matters was the token black show. You know what I mean? For the longest. That's just the spot that it was in. And then the theme song, everybody know the song, right? So, you know what I mean? The theme song, White Guy, it just was what it was. But I never heard of this narrative, really, because I was a kid. Yeah, I'm not going to apologize. I watched Family Matters, yeah. And it was the shit, low-key. You had Laura Winslow was fine. Her best friend was fine. Myra was fine. Yeah, we was watching Family Matters. I watched everything back then, but I thought that was what made that time period so special for black television. You had all the diversity, because you could watch something like Family Matters, the bougie black show, or whatever. And then you had Fresh Prince. They was rich and bougie too, but it had a lot more style and flavor to it. Then you had Martin, and you have Wayne's Brothers. You could have anything. You could have Homeboys from Outer Space, some stupid shit like that. It was a lot of variety back then. So it's like, even if you didn't like a certain show, it was something for everybody. But a lot of people was on his ass, like, y'all didn't, the show didn't age as gracefully. Maybe it didn't. I don't go back and watch reruns like that. But yeah, back in the day, Family Matters, Eddie Winslow and the whole nine, it was a cool show for what it was. Now, Eddie Winslow's tripping nowadays, it's a whole nother, whole nother thing nowadays. But Jaleel White is, he wants that acceptance. And when people talk about black shows and they reminisce, it doesn't seem like Family Matters gets the type of acknowledgement like a Bel Air. Like Bel Air, Fresh Prince of Bel Air, they even did a spinoff that's been successful. I thought it was going to be trash. I ain't going to lie. I watched it. I kind of got into it. I can't even lie. So certain shows just have a more, you see people out here wearing Martin gear and Martin clothes and theme stuff. Like, certain shows just had a bigger impact culturally than others. They just aged differently. But he was a huge star at that point in time. But I never heard of like people hating Family Matters back then. I was like, really, y'all niggas, right? Like, okay, like I might act like, y'all gonna act like y'all didn't watch this shit too. I'm like, okay, maybe BET playing too many of the reruns, and that's why y'all niggas getting fed up with it. I don't know. But Jaleel White is yearning for that acceptance, and he's never gotten that. And I guess when you play a nerd for 10 years, right, on TV, and that's the thing, Family Matters, started off as just a cool black show, upper middle class black family. Carl Winslow's the dad. He's a cop. I don't even think the mother worked. If she did, I don't remember what she did. And then you had that one daughter that went upstairs, never came back down, right? And then they started flexing the show. It kind of is the same thing what happened to Good Times, where JJ became the star of the show. They wrote off John Amos. That's what they were doing with Family Matters, where it started off. Carl Winslow was the star of the show. You see his face on the credits and all that. Sooner or later, it became like about Steve Urkel, right? And it really was mainly about Steve, and everybody else was like the cast members. But their house is still the focal point of the show. But it's Steve Urkel, who we never see hit the inside of his house. The next door neighbor is the focal point of the show. It was kind of weird, and people thought it kind of turned some people off. I just thought it went on too long. They probably should have ended Family Matters around 95, and it lasted till like 98. And it got to a point where I tuned out, because at one point I didn't even know they wrote the mother off the show, right? They replaced her with some light-skinned lady. Gina's mom from Martin was playing Harriet. I was like, damn, I didn't even realize that. Because by then, most people had tuned out. We wasn't watching anymore. But like I said, they always had that white rub because they were the token white show on the white lineup. And prior to hanging with Mr. Cooper, that was the black show on that whole lineup. There was no black shows. And you coming on right before Growing Pains and Step by Step, yeah, you're going to have a white audience. The white people love Steve Urkel. You know what I mean? They knew all the catchphrases. Did I do that? All of that. That shit was a hit. But I guess you just had to be there to see it, I guess. But yeah, all of this negative shit about Family Matters, I never heard of this rhetoric until like black social media blew up. Because I was like, yo, a hit was a hit. And I used to watch them all. Like I say, it was diverse. It was a lot of variety. You had the Wayans brothers, you had Steve Harvey, Jamie Foxx, the Parkers, Moesha. It was something for everybody. So if you didn't like it, it wasn't going to, hurt you. You could have turned the channel and watched something else. But yeah, Jaleel White is out here yearning, man. Somebody give him a hug. All right, that man is desperately in need of some acceptance over there. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe.